What's going on? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. Production snafus could delay the Apple Watch Series 7. Is the iPhone ready to work on satellite networks? And who's really going to upgrade to the iPhone 13? We got a whole bunch to talk about, but hey, let's start with the Apple Watch. And I know you've seen all the leaked renders of the new design with its flat body, flat edges, and rounded corners. We've even seen dummy versions out in the wild in China already, and reports claim we'll see them announced at the expected September event. But multiple reports now say production for the new Apple Watch has been delayed due to a more complicated design for the Series 7. Now, the Nikkei Asia says a small-scale production of the watch started last week, but there were critical challenges in getting a final production result that met Apple's standards. Their sources said the disappointing production quality could be attributed to the complexity of the design. And we know that this is the first new Apple Watch with a significant design change. Now, recent reports revealed an increase in watch size to 41 and 45 millimeters for the Series 7 with slimmer bezels for a larger display. Apple suppliers have temporarily halted production to make the proper improvements needed before going into mass production. And the Nikkei Asia report also revealed that the Series 7 will come with blood pressure measurement capabilities for the first time on the Apple Watch. And yes, Samsung's Galaxy Watches already had this biometric. But meeting the requirements for water resistance performance is also adding to the engineering and production challenges. Now, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman reported on the manufacturing issues as well and added that it could lead to a later release date or tight inventory issues for the Apple Watch Series 7. We're going to see how much this affects the launch, but if you remember, the iPad Pro with mini LED display had limited inventory at the beginning of its launch as well. Now, the new Apple Watch is expected to also bring a faster processor, a new process to bring the display closer to the cover glass with a new lamination technique that may be part of the production delays, and new watch faces to take advantage of this new, larger display. So, look, we're just a few weeks out. Hold on your butts. We're going to hear the official news from Apple themselves, and we'll see how it all comes together. All right, a new report stirred things up after analyst Ming-Chi Kuo reported that the new iPhone 13 was, in his words, likely to support low Earth orbit satellite communications. Now, that would allow iPhone users to make calls and send messages if they had no cell signal or Wi-Fi connectivity based on a customized Qualcomm X60 baseband chip for satellite communication. But then that report was quickly disputed after findings that it's actually Qualcomm's X65 modem that supports the global 5G N53 band that would be used for 5G connectivity improvements and not for satellite service. So bottom line, satellite service for the iPhone 13 is not coming, and it appeared to be more of a mix-up. Now, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman then added his own take and says Apple is indeed working on emergency satellite features for iPhones that we do not expect to see this year. He reports that iPhone users will eventually be able to report potential crashes or emergencies where there is no cell service at all. And there are at least 2 emergency features in the works that rely on satellite networks. Now, the first one would be an emergency message via satellite, or think of it as texting via satellite tool, currently codenamed Stewie. Yeah, not that Stewie, but Stewie. It would be integrated into the Messages app as a different type of protocol alongside blue iMessages and then green text messages. The emergency ones will be gray and their length will be restricted. Now, the second feature will allow you to report major emergencies like a vehicle crash or fires, similar to a 911 call in the US. These features would be limited for only crisis scenarios, and it won't be available to everyone right away. Also, satellite access will depend on local regulations and satellite locations. Now, again, Gurman says this feature is unlikely to be ready for this year, but Gurman reports the current Apple modem chips could have the proper hardware to turn this satellite feature on down the road. Of course, the launch for this has not been finalized, and we may or may not see it in the future. But do not fall for the Apple iPhone is getting satellite connectivity headlines. It's not that juicy. Oh, wait, hold on. My man, Kevin Williams, he told me in my last video, no man should use the word juicy. Hey, Kevin, juicy.
Yeah!
Apple just announced the first US states that will let you add your driver's license or state ID to the Wallet app on the iPhone and Apple Watch. Arizona and Georgia will be the first states to support it. Then Connecticut, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Oklahoma, and Utah will follow, according to Apple. The TSA will also enable select airport security checkpoints and lanes in participating airports as the first locations to use the new Apple Wallet driver's license or state ID. Now, they teased it at WWDC, and it's just the beginning, but it's going to take a while for this plan to roll out completely, but I love that it's getting started. All right, Apple just acquired classical music service Primephonic and announced they will be bringing the service into Apple Music. And this is a really interesting acquisition because Primephonic has built its own platform and listening experience that's optimized for classical music audio. It's a favorite amongst enthusiasts, and during this transition, Apple will offer Apple Music subscribers an improved classical music experience with some Primephonic playlists and audio content. Now, Primephonic will be taken offline on September the 7th and is no longer available for new subscribers. Apple says it's going to launch its own dedicated classical musical app to combine the Primephonic interface with additional features. Current Primephonic subscribers will get 6 months of Apple Music for free, but the way people navigate and search for classical music and even listening to it is different than modern music, so I think this is a really cool addition that Apple is adding to its content library. And you know what? That's good, Apple!
Yeah!
And I cannot wait to see this new app in action. Alright, Apple recently announced a new service program that will fix an issue where some iPhone 12 and 12 Pro devices have sound issues. According to Apple, a small percentage of 12 and 12 Pro models, and we don't know how many that is, of course, but they may experience some sound problems. If your phone does not have sound coming from its receiver when making or receiving calls, you may be eligible for the free service. iPhone 12 mini and 12 Pro Max are not affected and are not part of this program, so you can contact Apple support directly, make an appointment at an Apple retail store or an authorized service dealer to get the issue resolved. Now, I also recently talked about spatial audio coming to Netflix, and I absolutely love that move. Well, now it's coming to your favorite audio app that sparked the whole live audio room social network. Yeah, Clubhouse. The new feature is rolling out now on iOS and coming to Android soon. And depending on who speaks and where they are on the Clubhouse screen, their audio will come from different directions.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hey, I'm Justin.
You'll only hear the effect if you are in the audience and not on stage speaking. That's if you're still even using Clubhouse anymore. Oh, sorry Clubhouse fan, but I haven't opened up the app in ages, all right? Okay, now sometimes you don't really know what actual users are feeling when it comes to the new iPhone. That is just a few weeks away, but according to a new survey by CellCell, interest in switching to the iPhone 13 by Android users is significantly less than it was at the same time last year for the iPhone 12. The survey conducted earlier this month asked more than 5,000 current Android users in the US ages 18 years or older questions about the upcoming iPhone. Now it found that 18.3% of users would consider switching to the iPhone 13, but that's a big drop off compared to last year when 33.1% of users would have considered switching to an iPhone 12. So that's roughly a 15% change or half the interest year over year. Now when asked what were the things that would compel them to make the change, the top reason was software support at 51.4%, and second was the Apple ecosystem at 23.8%. 11.4% said better privacy. None of the respondents said because my friends and family hate green bubbles. Now, respondents who said they were not planning to go iPhone 13 also responded with their reasons for staying put. The top reason at 31.9%, the lack of a fingerprint reader. That's nearly 1/3 of respondents, and that's exactly what Apple doesn't care about. After a Bloomberg report last week that we talked about said Apple will not bring an in-display fingerprint sensor to the iPhone 13. In fact, Apple's eventual goal is to embed Face ID under the display instead of bringing Touch ID to next generation iPhones. So an in-display fingerprint scanner is not in Apple's future plans, and it's the #1 reason in this survey why Android users won't switch. Maybe they should reconsider that. Come on, of course they shouldn't, because Apple knows exactly what we want and need all the time and every time, obviously. The #2 reason Android users don't want to switch, iOS offers very little customizability at 16.7%, and the third response, no support for sideloading apps, came in at 12.6%. I think about this, and if Android users aren't that excited about upgrading to the iPhone 13, how excited do you think Apple users are? Okay, calm down. This is a joke. It's for fun. Don't take it personal unless you hate getting the same shirt from 2 different people on Christmas. Then I'd understand. But I'd love to hear if you plan on upgrading to this year's iPhone or not. What are your reasons, and what phone do you have right now? I think that makes a difference. I know I'm going to get one for my review, but it doesn't mean I'm going to upgrade. And I've said it before, but this year does have an iPhone 11 Pro kind of feel to it with an improved camera and a better battery. And that unexpectedly became one of my favorite iPhones of all time. So we'll see what happens. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for now. We are just a couple of weeks away where things are going to get real cray-cray over here with the Apple goodies. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my videos when they drop. And yes, there will be plenty dropping soon. And if you want more of that Apple goodness, you can check out my weekly AppleBits XL audio podcast to get the latest deep dive with all these stories and new ones every week. Plus, you can also support my content at patreon.com/BrianTong. That gets you early access, rewards at different levels, and a completely ad-free version of my podcast starting at $2 per month at patreon.com/BrianTong. So thank you so much for your support and allowing me to keep on doing this. And I'll see you next time. Take care and be safe. Peace and love.